At the honored guest seat of the Spring Breeze Pavilion, Tiu Thien hands over the Three Realms Martial Tome to the master of the Spring Breeze Pavilion, saying, "Name your price for this." Holding it, the old master exclaims, "I've never seen a heavenly tier item like this before. How should I even price it?" He falls silent, lost in thought. Jiang, standing nearby, suggests laughingly, "Big brother, why not just give this heavenly tier martial tome to me? It doesn't suit you, Tiu Thien. I've already agreed to give you a tome, even if it's just a 9th grade earth tier, it's still excellent. Your appreciation brightens my day, brother." After some deliberation, the master speaks, "Mr. Tiu, a heavenly tier martial tome is a significant matter. I'll make an initial offer, see what you think." Tiu Thien prompts him to continue. Subtracting 5 million from Mr. Jiang's dues, "I'd add another 10 million and invite you to be a permanent honorary guest at Spring Breeze Pavilion, getting items at cost during auctions. Furthermore, you can pick any 10 items from our treasury anytime." "Does that sound sufficient?" he muses quietly. Tiu Thien replies, "Why complicate things? I don't need a single coin. Just agree to one small condition." The master asks what it is. "It's simple. Serve me for 3 years, and after that, you're free again." Confused, the master asks, "Serve you?" Jiang chimes in, "Just agree. What are you waiting for? It's only 3 years for a heavenly tier martial tome, a huge bargain." Tiu Thien quickly adds, "I'll also gift you another 9th grade earth tier martial tome." Jiang is startled. The master, struck dumb, mutters, "A 9th grade earth tier." He promptly kneels before Tiu Thien, declaring, "I agree." Tiu Thien commands, "Stand up." Tiu Thien asks, "Do you know who Long Phi Jop is?" The elder replies, "I am well aware. He is the sect leader of the Dragon Gate, very powerful and responsible. He's attending this auction because his younger sister is gravely ill." Tiu Thien listens attentively. Tiu Thien declares, "I want him to submit to me. Go contact Long Phi Jop and tell him to come here." The elder immediately acknowledges, "Understood, I'll have Long Phi Jop here right away." Hearing this, Jiang remarks, "Big brother, why do I feel like you're flaunting wealth like a nouveau riche?" Tiu Thien angrily retorts, "What did you say?" Startled, he turns pale and stammers, "Nothing, it was nothing." In Long Phi Jop's room, he clenches his fists in anger, thinking, "For my sister, I'm willing to pay any price." "Jiang, don't blame me." A knock sounds at the door of the Dragon Gate leader. He turns around, startled, What brings you here, Pavilion Master Mao?" he inquires. The elder replies, "Someone wants to see you, come with me." Long Phi Jop bristles, "Am I a man to be summoned so casually?" The Pavilion Master responds, "If you want to save your sister, follow me." Every mention of his sister causes Long Phi Jop to react strongly. He demands, "What is it?" "Hold on, I'll come with you," he says, and the Pavilion Master Mao smirks quietly. Upon arrival, Long Phi Jop frowns in surprise when he sees Tiu Thien and Jiang Suyen. "It's you two?" he exclaims, as Tiu Thien and Jiang Suyen lounge comfortably on chairs. Tiu Thien gestures for him to take a seat. Jiang Suyen cheerfully waves his hand, saying, "Here we meet again." Tiu Thien speaks up, "Long Phi Jop, I've called you here to offer you a chance." He inquires, "What kind of chance?" Tiu Thien replies, "The chance to serve me." At this, Long Phi Jop turns purple with rage, "Serve you? Who do you think you are to command me?" Jiang Suyen quickly stands up, warning, "Long Phi Jop, watch your tone. This is my boss you're talking to." Pavilion Master Mao also interjects, "Show some respect, Long Phi Jop, or you won't be able to bear the wrath of Mao Fong." Long Phi Jop mutters under his breath, "What's gotten into Jiang Suyen and Mao Fong?" Remaining calm, Tiu Thien states, "Long Phi Jop, allowing you to serve me gives both you and your sister a chance." He asks, "What do you mean?" Tiu Thien explains, "The Huyan Min Palm technique could save your sister's life, right?" "Yes, but if you think you can use the Huyan Min Palm to force me into servitude, you're dreaming. The Dragon Gate would rather break than bend to your will. We will never accept you as a master." Tiu Thien adds, "Don't be so quick to refuse, Long Phi Jop. Acknowledging me as your master could bring you great benefits. I only ask for 3 years of service." Hearing this, Long Phi Jop turns to the others and asks, "Are you two also serving him in the same way?" Jiang Suyen arrogantly responds, "Don't be ridiculous, I'm not that type of person," while Pavilion Master Mao candidly admits, "Indeed, my devotion is purely out of respect and admiration for Master Tiu." Tiu Thien, pleased, says, "Exactly, Long Phi Jop. If you agree, I can lend you the Huyan Min Palm technique to save your sister. Plus, I'll give you a set of 9th grade Earth tier martial arts. How about that? Upon hearing this, Long Fai Job bursts into laughter, ha ha ha. Pointing at Tiu Thien, he boldly says, a 9th grade Earth tier as common as cabbages at the market? If you really pull it off, not only will I serve you, I'd offer my head as well. Jiang Suyen chuckles in response, heh heh. Pavilion Master Mao also smirks quietly. Seeing their reactions, Long Fai Job panics, are you joking? He looks back and forth, gauging their demeanor. At that moment, he exclaims in astonishment, what? Tiu Thien, with his arms crossed, states, I don't like to wait too long. Agree now. Long Fai Job stands there, deep in thought. Suddenly, hurried footsteps approach, and a voice shouts, Sect Master, there's trouble. Long Fai Job frowns and asks, what happened? The man stammers, it's the young mistress, something has happened to her. Long Fai Job immediately rushes out like a shot. Seeing this, Tiu Thien says, go, check on her. In the room of Long Fai Job's sister. His sister is constantly moaning, it hurts so much, it's unbearable. Save her, please. Long Fai Job cries out as he sees her relapsing. Damn it. He gives his sister a pill and urges, come on, eat this quickly. She replies, it's useless, I've already had 10 of these. Is she dying? He wonders aloud. He reassures her, no, don't worry. I found a solution, don't think about that. Observing the sister's condition, Tiu Thien thinks, so it turns out to be the Celestial Emperor bloodline. What a find. Long Fai Job turns and urgently requests, please, bring out the Huyan Min Palm immediately. My sister can't hold on much longer. Tiu Thien responds, I'm afraid it might be too late now. You want to use the cold energy of the Huyan Min Palm to suppress the unending blood energy that's ravaging her body? But her entire body's blood energy has already boiled over. Even the Huyan Min Palm can't help now. Long Fai Job cries out in despair, no. He then collapses to the ground, overcome with helplessness. His sister's condition worsens, she cries, brother, I don't want to die. Jiang Suyen speaks up, big brother, is there really no solution? Tiu Thien replies, there is a way. Grasping at this lifeline for his sister, Long Fai Job turns quickly and asks, what did you say? Tiu Thien confidently answers, I have a way. Long Fai Job prostrates himself in supplication, please, help her. If you can save my sister, my life, Long Fai Job's, is yours. Then Tiu Thien commands, everyone, please leave the room. Before departing, Long Fai Job casts a lingering look at his sister. Tiu Thien observes the young lady on the bed and remarks, the Celestial Emperor bloodline, said to be from the 9 Heavens Divine Emperor. The 9 Heavens Divine Emperor is a lineage far superior to that of the 3-eyed grey wolf. The wolf atop his staff growls angrily several times in response. Tiu Thien clarifies, when I mentioned the 3-eyed grey wolf, I didn't mean to include humans. This eases the wolf's demeanor. He then channels his internal energy, placing his hand on the forehead of Long Fai Job's sister. The 9 Heavens Divine Emperor is a high form of the phoenix, said to be immortal and reborn every 3,000 years. However, unlike the phoenix, the Divine Emperor cannot rebirth from ashes before maturity and may combust due to the volatile royal blood. But if she can overcome this trial, then every 1,000 years she will grow a new phoenix feather, and after 9,000 years, having grown 9 feathers, the Divine Emperor matures and can even confront the highest sovereign powers. At this moment, Tiu Thien is using a technique to soothe the girl's condition. After a while, the girl becomes calm. Tiu Thien continues to use his technique. He lifts the girl up. He thinks to himself, this woman has the Divine Emperor bloodline. If she can survive this ordeal, her future will be boundless. He then employs the 9 turns life and death technique. Rings of blue light emanate from Tiu Thien. Yin and yang circles appear, creating a chaotic blend of black and white. He moves closer to the girl. Unexpectedly, he finds himself having to use the martial arts of Lich Van Fai to save her. Then Tiu Thien activates another circle of blue light. He immediately directs it onto the girl. The girl split into 2. The 9 turns life and death technique is a martial art that manipulates fate, temporarily causing a person's essence to divide into 2 halves. One living, one dying. Tiu Thien continues to fuel the process, burning the dying half, which can even deceive the heavens. By directing the royal blood into the dead half and destroying it, he conceals it to protect her life. The part being burned screams out in agony. The screams grow louder and the flames rise higher. At this crucial moment, Tiu Thien acts. Then, the remaining essence slowly lies down, until it settles quietly on the bed. The girl becomes normal again and falls into a deep sleep. With the task complete, Tiu Thien breathes a sigh of relief, recognizing that the 9 turns life and death technique, a method of deceiving the heavenly order, should not be used lightly in the future. He looks at the sleeping girl and muses, "Descendant of the emperor, I hope you bring me unexpected joys." Then he tells those waiting outside, "You can come in now." The people outside are quite surprised. Then Long Fai Jop rushes over anxiously and asks about his sister, "How is she?" Tiu Thien responds, "She's fine now. She should wake up by tomorrow at the latest, but the illness is only suppressed temporarily. It will take more time to fully cure her." He then smiles slyly and continues, "So therefore." Long Fai Jop listens and falls silent for a moment. Then he kneels before Tiu Thien and declares, "From this moment on, Long Fai Jop is at your service." Tiu Thien laughs contentedly, not bad at all." Seeing this, Jiang Suyen slaps Long Fai Jop on the back and says, "Now you're also a younger brother to our boss, but since I'm the number 1 little brother, you have to call me Big Brother." Long Fai Jop says nothing, just glares at Jiang Suyen, who becomes so frightened that he sweats and can only mutter a feeble acknowledgement. Tiu Thien turns to leave, saying, "I'll go ahead. When she wakes up tomorrow, bring her to me." He then turns back to instruct Meng Fong, "You don't need to follow me. I will find you if needed." Meng Fong acknowledges with a clear, "Understood." Then he tells Jiang Suyen, "You come with me." On the streets, the bustle is loud and lively as Tiu Thien and Jiang Suyen stroll along. Tiu Thien notices someone is following them. He tells Jiang Suyen, "Take this chance to clear out all the loose ends." Jiang Suyen still looks confused and doesn't understand. The followers whisper among themselves, they have left the Spring Breeze Pavilion. Wait for the right moment to strike. By this time, Tiu Thien has left the bustling street for a secluded area. They continue to follow him. Tiu Thien says, "You've followed long enough. Come out now." Jiang Suyen, confused, asks, "Boss, what are you talking about?" A voice responds with a laugh, "Haha, not bad, kid. You got some skill." Then, several figures suddenly rush past them. Now visible, they surround Tiu Thien and Jiang Suyen. Seeing this, Jiang Suyen immediately steps in front of Tiu Thien and says, "Boss, run. I'll cover the rear. These guys are here to kill us." Tiu Thien replies, "Do you know why I led them here?" Jiang Suyen, still not understanding, turns back in surprise to look at Tiu Thien. Tiu Thien then explains, "Because only by bringing you could I lure these men out." Then, Tiu Thien boldly declares, "You've all been surrounded. Everyone present here today must die," finishing his statement with a supremely confident smile. Hearing Tiu Thien's bold declaration, Jiang Suyen stutters in astonishment, Big brother." Tiu Thien laughs and says, "You take a nap first," and with that, Jiang Suyen, worried, starts to speak, "Can I help?" But before he can finish his sentence, Tiu Thien strikes him on the back of the neck. Jiang Suyen collapses, knocked unconscious. Scene shifts to the room of Long Lang. Long Fai Jop stands guard over his sister, murmuring, "You must recover quickly." Suddenly, there's a knock at the door. He calls, "Long Fai Jop, open the door." Long Fai Jop looks towards the door. Opening it, he sees an old bald man who says, "Long Fai Jop, let's go." "Where to?" The old man replies, "Young Jiang and his disciple from the Qingyun sect have left the Spring Breeze Pavilion. They're probably surrounded in the forest by now. We can benefit from this chaos." Hearing this, Long Fai Jop calmly responds, "I understand." The old man is surprised, What's this reaction?" Long Fai Jop answers, "Nothing, let's go." The old man turns to leave first but still harbors suspicions. Long Fai Jop, following behind, has already prepared his technique. Seizing the moment the old man is unaware, Long Fai Jop strikes him with a palm, causing him to cry out in pain. Enduring the pain, the old man turns around and asks Long Fai Jop, "You?" Before he can finish his question, Long Fai Jop delivers another palm strike. This palm immediately incapacitates him, making him spit blood. He then collapses to the ground. The old man coughs and chokes, You don't have to kill me to take everything. Do you know the consequences of offending the Zhao family?" Long Fai Jop, unconcerned, replies, "You needn't worry about that," and channels his internal energy. He then delivers a fatal blow, sending the old man to his death. Long Fai Jop declares, "Zhao Wuji, I've had enough of your sight." Following that, Long Fai Jop uses a destruction technique. He burns the corpse of Zhao Wuji to ashes. Long Fai Jop returns to his sister's room and says, "Big brother will be right back." He thinks to himself, Jiang Suyen. Let's see if the man who commanded your and Mao Fang's loyalty can survive this ordeal. Meanwhile, with Tiu Thien, upon hearing his claim, the encircling group bursts out laughing. Haha, what did you say? You're surrounded? It's us surrounding you. The leader mocks Tiu Thien. Hand over the goods, kid, and we might let you leave intact. Tiu Thien scoffs at them and retorts, then let's start with you. A confused hefty man still stands, dumbfounded by the unfolding events. Suddenly, the hefty man's eyes widen and he begins to sweat profusely. A hole appears. In pain, he looks down at his chest. Tiu Thien smiles contentedly and says, "First one down." The hefty man has died. This causes chaos among the attackers. This is bad, this kid's skills are too strong, everyone attack together. Tiu Thien calmly utters, "Celestial roar." Then, Tiu Thien and his small dog both roar. The attackers cry out in pain, "Oh no," as their weapons shatter. Following that, all of them are obliterated. Tiu Thien looks up, surprised. Unexpectedly, there are still masters here, he muses. Then, he turns around, astonished. The mysterious figure reveals himself, saying, "Who are you really? The technique you just used isn't something a martial artist from Yuan City should possess." He steps forward to face Tiu Thien. They exchange probing glances. Tiu Thien speaks, intrigued, "It's interesting, you're a twin soul." The man is surprised. "How do you know that?" At that moment, Wen Qingqing appears and says, "Ah, this young man is indeed no ordinary one. He even knows about twin souls." A Han speaks coldly to Tiu Thien, "I only want the Huyan Min Palm. I don't wish to start trouble. Hand it over and I might let you live. If you are aware of the twin soul, then you must also realize that if we truly fought, you might not be able to defeat me." Tiu Thien calmly replies, "A twin soul means having two spirits within one body. A phenomenon so rare it might occur once in 10,000 cases. Whether in cultivation or comprehending the Tao, their development speed is dozens or even hundreds of times faster than that of ordinary martial artists. Even among peers, their combat power overwhelmingly surpasses others. You, right now, seem to possess the combat power of someone who has integrated 7 realms, admits a Han. Hearing this, Tiu Thien smiles mysteriously and asks, "I'm curious, why would a powerful individual like you choose to serve that woman?" Wen Qingqing loses patience and angrily says, "What do you mean by that?" A Han responds, "If not for the lady's father who took me in and nurtured me from a young age, I wouldn't have achieved what I have today. If you think to sow discord, I advise you to drop that notion." Tiu Thien laughs heartily, "Haha, sow discord? I hardly need such tactics. It's just that twin souls are indeed rare. It would indeed be a pity to kill you now. Do you wish to serve under me?" he asks. The man retorts, "Serve you? On what basis?" Tiu Thien answers, "On the basis that I can bring your ancient hidden sect back into the light." Upon hearing this, both Wen Qingqing and a Han are stunned. Wen Qingqing angrily says, "What are you talking about? I don't understand. Just kill him." A Han immediately obeys her command and charges to attack. Tiu Thien continues calmly, "If I'm not mistaken, your sect leader must be close to breaking through, isn't he?" This statement causes a Han to halt his attack as he asks, "Who exactly are you?" Tiu Thien responds, "If I'm not mistaken, you're not just any martial artist. You are a twin soul. A rarity even in ancient times, distinguished by the flame tattoo." Hearing this, the man is momentarily dumbstruck. Tiu Thien continues, "Moreover, your ancient hidden sect has a unique cultivation method that requires a very cold martial technique to achieve breakthroughs. That's why you desperately need the Huyan Min Palm." Struck by Tiu Thien's accuracy, Wen Qingqing asks, "Who are you, really? How do you know so much about the ancient secrets?" Tiu Thien steps closer, pats a Han on the shoulder, and says, "The ancient hidden sect has a destiny with me. I'll give you the Huyan Min Palm as a favor." "What realm has your sect leader reached now? Why should I tell you?" a Han retorts. Wen Qingqing speaks up, "Our sect leader has returned to the peak of the integrative realm, just one step away from ascending to the transcendental realm." Hearing this, Tiu Thien scoffs and mocks, "Integrative realm peak? I'm surprised the cultivation level of your sect leader is so low." He recalls his time as a great emperor, having once met the old sect leader of the ancient hidden sect, who was then at the emperor realm. "I can't believe the new leader is only at the integrative realm peak." Enraged, Wen Qingqing points at Tiu Thien and shouts, "Enough, you arrogant fool! How dare you belittle the integrative realm peak as low level? You have no shame." So Thien Tu immediately appears and starts punching the enemy, Li Tinvan, who is lying beneath him, gripping his neck tightly. Li Tinvan can do nothing but endure the blows. Tiu Thien closes his eyes and smiles, while Jiang Suyen lies unconscious beside him. Then, Tiu Thien moves to where Jiang Suyen is unconscious, sits down, and starts searching through Jiang Suyen's clothes for something. After some searching, Tiu Thien finally finds what he was looking for, holding the item tightly in his hand with a satisfied smile. He then presents it to a Han, saying, "Take this Huyan Min Palm." A Han reaches out to accept it. Holding the Huyan Min Palm, a Han appears uncertain. Suddenly, a Han feels a weird sensation in his hand. His eyes widen in shock. "You are surprised, aren't you?" At this moment, Tiu Thien writes several characters on a Han's palm, leaving him feeling awkward and unsteady. After writing on a Han's palm, Tiu Thien successfully conveys a message. A Han raises his hand, looking at it confused and grits his teeth. While a Han is preoccupied, Tiu Thien lifts Jiang Suyen onto his shoulder and straightforwardly tells a Han to pass the message written on his hand to his clan leader, then come to Qingyun Gate to find him. Afterwards, Tiu Thien cheerfully leaves with Jiang Suyen on his shoulder. A Han clenches his fist behind him. Meanwhile, Wen Qingqing rushes over, noticing something odd with a Han, and asks what Tiu Thien wrote. A Han replies that it was Supreme Martial Realm, still puzzled by the characters Tiu Thien wrote on his hand. From a tree branch, Long Phi Jop has been observing everything and concludes, Tiu Thien is indeed very strong. Long Phi Jop sighs deeply, thinking to himself, "I never thought the day would come when I, Long Phi Jop, would serve another," his expression deeply contemplative. Meanwhile, Tiu Thien, with Jiang Suyen on his shoulder, is calculating in his head, planning to reach the third level of the ancient physical refinement technique soon. The small wolf on Tiu Thien's head is blissfully unaware, lounging comfortably. As Tiu Thien walks through the forest with Jiang Suyen, he contemplates whether his cultivation is strong enough to confront a peak integrative realm master. The next day at Spring Breeze Pavilion, Jiang Suyen has awakened but is still dizzy. He touches his head, puzzled by the pain and wondering why he can't remember the strange events of the previous day. Tiu Thien stands before Jiang Suyen, Mao Fong, and Long Phi Jop, with his hands clasped behind his back, and tells them, "I will head to Qingyun Gate first. Mao Fong, you stay at Spring Breeze Pavilion and await my instructions. Long Phi Jop, stay at Dragon Gate until I arrange things." Mao Fong and Long Phi Jop acknowledge this instruction. After giving his instructions, Tiu Thien turns and leaves, waving goodbye and saying, "Off I go." Jiang Suyen also waves and says, "Goodbye, boss." Tiu Thien travels across the blue sky on a giant bird. On the back of the giant bird, Tiu Thien and a girl named Quang Man are having fun. Quang Man snuggles up to Tiu Thien, saying, "This is so much fun, we should come here more often." Tiu Thien lovingly agrees. Soon, they arrive at Qingyun Gate. In Duang Tu Liang's room, someone calls out his name. Tiu Thien, sitting relaxed in a chair with his arms crossed, asks Duang Tu Liang, "Have there been any noteworthy new recruits joining Qingyun Gate recently?" Hearing Tiu Thien's question, Duang Tu Liang lifts a ledger and says, "It's all in here." Tiu Thien, satisfied, responds, "Gather all disciples tomorrow. I want to assess them myself." Duang Tu Liang bows respectfully and confirms, "Understood." The next day at the Qingyun Gate training grounds, a large group of disciples has assembled. They chat excitedly, "Did you hear? Today, the Celestial Master himself will inspect us." "The Celestial Master? Oh my, he's a legendary figure of our Qingyun Gate." Among the disciples, one with a particularly fiery gaze and full of zeal whispers to himself, "This is my chance to stand out." His name is Sui Tian Shu. Sui Tian Shu then slaps the back of Tin Van, looks him in the eye with determination, and says, "Wait until the Celestial Master notices us, then together we'll soar. If I eat, you eat, brother." Tin Van responds with an eager face, Thanks, brother Sui." In his heart, Tin Van also resolves to perform his best, determined not to let Sui back down nor embarrass himself. The disciples of Qingyun Gate, their eyes shining and smiles wide, light up when they see the person before them is the Celestial Master. They cheer, "Oa, the Celestial Master, our idol." Tiu Thien and Duang Tu Liang casually make their way to the center of the Qingyun Gate training grounds. Upon reaching the center, Tiu Thien clasps his hands behind his back and looks at the neatly lined up disciples, loudly declaring, "I am here for one sole purpose: to choose one among you to become my direct disciple." The disciples below are utterly astonished, some even exclaim, "Oh wow!" Even Duong Tu Liang sweats and gasps in surprise. Then, Duong Tu Liang looks at Tiu Thien with a smile and jests, "So, do you think I qualify?" Tiu Thien, at a loss for words with Duong Tu Liang's humor, stares at him, causing him to sweat nervously and stutter, understood." Sui Tian Shu, hearing Tiu Thien's announcement, beams with joy, thinking, direct disciple, under the harsh sunlight, his face sweating but his resolve undiminished. Sui Tian Shu's eyes are filled with determination as he clenches his fists, confident that his life is about to change. Tin Van, watching Sui Tian Shu's confident smile, thinks to himself that if only one is to be chosen, it must surely be his superior, Sui Dak. He is genuinely happy for him. Tin Van feels a bit despondent but resolves in his mind that even if his chances are slim, he will still give his best effort. The other disciples of Qingyun Gate also whisper excitedly upon hearing Tiu Thien mention the rules. The rule is simple. My disciple must be a strong individual with the best character, potential, and mindset. Next, Tiu Thien announces, "I will set a challenge. Whoever endures the longest will become my direct disciple, the chosen one of the Celestial Master." As he speaks, Tiu Thien starts to conjure a whirlwind of blue in his hand, his face serious. A barrier forms beneath the disciples of Qingyun Gate, leaving them utterly amazed and exclaiming, "Oh! What is this?" Just as they were excited by the appearance of the barrier, they were suddenly horrified to realize that something was making them feel incredibly heavy, causing some to fall and others to stagger. The group of disciples exclaimed in confusion, "What's happening? Why are we so heavy?" With gravity increased by 20 times, some disciples couldn't withstand the pressure and collapsed to the ground, while others, including Sui Tian Shu and Tin Van, struggled to stay upright. From his vantage point, Tiu Thien watched and smiled to himself, thinking, "Not bad, there are some good seeds among them." Perhaps the 20-fold gravity test was too easy for Sui Tian Shu, who smiled confidently. He thought to himself, "Since childhood, I've been subjected to intense training. To me, 20 times the normal gravity is nothing." Beside him, Tin Van continued to endure. From above, Duong Tu Liang also watched and smiled approvingly, commenting to Tiu Thien, "It looks like we have some promising individuals. That Sui Tian Shu is the son of the great merchant of Tian Yuan City. His talent is not bad, I think he might win this." Tiu Thien scanned the group and said, "Not necessarily. Let's see," adding, 30 isn't the end yet." Hearing this, Duong Tu Liang was astonished, his expression one of disbelief as he sweated and exclaimed, Could there be other dark horses?" From above, Tiu Thien observed Sui Tian Shu's every move and sensed something unusual about him, thinking, "This young man has a strange energy." Meanwhile, Tin Van, still pushing through, was burning with determination, proving himself a promising seed. After enduring the intense pressure, many disciples from Qingyun Gate fell, but a few, including Sui Tian Shu, remained, looking very pleased with himself as he clenched his fists and declared, "Give up, everyone. The position of direct disciple should only belong to Sui Tian Shu." At that moment, Sui Tian Shu turned to see a disciple collapse right in front of him, mistakenly thinking he was the last one standing. He joyfully raised his arms to celebrate, shouting, "I've won! I've won! Hold on, wait a minute, something's off here," he thought, suddenly sweating as he noticed something amiss right after celebrating. Shocked to see Tin Van still conscious and resisting, he grumbled, "Why are you still awake?" Tin Van, seeing Sui Tian Shu's question, forced a smile and replied, "Brother Sui, am I doing you proud?" Sui Tian Shu forced a laugh and said, well done, but inwardly he felt like crying, "How can this simple country boy still be standing? It's been 2 hours and I'm already starting to push my limits." From their high vantage point, Tiu Thien and Duong Tu Liang observed everything. Tiu Thien amused, "The real show starts now." Duong Tu Liang couldn't hide his amazement, commenting, "This Li Tin Van is interesting, he's holding on much longer than expected." Tiu Thien glanced at Duong Tu Liang with a smile and said, "Watch on, this young man is very strong. This young man thrives in desperate situations, unleashing immense power." Tiu Thien observes as Li Tin Van struggles to withstand the increased pressure. Despite the pain and sweat, his determination not to give up is evident. Sui Tian Shu is pushing his limits. He's sweating profusely and looks visibly exhausted. He tries a psychological tactic on Tin Van, saying, "You've done exceptionally well, Tin Van. There's no need to overexert yourself." Unfazed, Tin Van replies with determined resolve, "Brother Sui, I'm still okay. I can keep going." Sui Tian Shu frowns and clenches his teeth in anger, cursing the young man silently. Duang Tu Liang, observing from the sidelines with his arms crossed, assesses the situation. Although this young man's talent may not be the best and his strength weak, his willpower is truly impressive. On the other hand, Sui Tian Shu may not last much longer. Tiu Thien remarks, "It seems the outcome is becoming quite clear." An hour later, as the sun reaches its zenith and its rays blaze down intensely, Sui Tian Shu is at his limit, his body drenched in sweat, his eyes glazed, and blood trickles from his mouth as he trembles. He eventually collapses to the ground, gasping, "I can't take it anymore, I just can't." He turns to look at Tin Van, then bursts out laughing. Despite being severely drained, Tin Van continues to resist the pressure. Sui Tian Shu, mistakenly believing Tin Van had collapsed, lies on the ground and laughs triumphantly, "I've won, in the end, it is still me who wins." Duang Tu Liang steps down from his vantage point and remarks, "Clearly, this competition is about who can last till the end." He coldly tells Sui Tian Shu, "The one who persevered to the end is that young man," pointing towards Li Tin Van. This statement pierces Sui Tian Shu's arrogance like a dagger. He continues, "Therefore, this young man is the true winner." Sui Tian Shu, in disbelief, denies it, "No, that can't be." Sui Tian Shu struggles to his feet, clenching his fists in anger, and protests, "This isn't fair. He was unconscious. I was the only true victor." From above, Tiu Thien coldly responds, "A person with dishonest intentions and lacking perseverance does not deserve to be a disciple of the Celestial Master." Hearing this, Sui Tian Shu looks up in shock, his confidence and pride shattered by Tiu Thien's words. At this point, Sui Tian Shu begins to plead, "Please give me another chance, I am truly the most outstanding here." Then he pointed directly at Li Tin Van and shouted, this kid is no match for me. How can you reject me based on what? How?" Sui Tian Shu was bold to challenge the Celestial Master like this. Even Duang Tu Liang, who desired to become a disciple of the Celestial Master, had not yet been accepted. Angered by Sui Tian Shu's disrespect, Duang Tu Liang clenched his fists and shouted, "Shut up," startling Sui Tian Shu. Duang Tu Liang then firmly declared, "I announce that only Li Tin Van has passed this test, therefore." Before he could finish, Tiu Thien raised his hand to signal Duang Tu Liang to stop, puzzling him with a curious grunt. Tiu Thien glanced at Sui Tian Shu and then announced, "I have decided to add another test." "Sui Tian Shu, you have another chance." Sui Tian Shu eagerly asked, "Really?" As Tiu Thien walked away, he said, "Yes, tomorrow I will announce the 2 tests. Now, everyone should go and rest." Then, looking back at Sui Tian Shu, Tiu Thien added, "By the way, is Li Tin Van your friend? Help him back to his room." Sui Tian Shu obediently replied, "Yes." As Tiu Thien and Duang Tu Liang left, Sui Tian Shu turned to Tin Van, inwardly cursing the rotten kid. Despite his feelings, Sui Tian Shu helped Tin Van back to his room to rest. Duang Tu Liang and Tiu Thien watched their departing figures, Duang Tu Liang asking, "What's the meaning of this?" Tiu Thien replied, "This young man is deceitful yet not beyond redemption. If he can change and start anew, I am willing to give him another chance." Hearing this, Duang Tu Liang was astounded and looked at Tiu Thien thoughtfully. Duang Tu Liang wondered if this unconventional approach suited the elder's character, perhaps pondering whether one day Tiu Thien might change his mind about accepting Duang Tu Liang as a disciple. The scene shifts to the Qingyun Gate disciples' dormitory. Tin Van, now back in his room resting, eventually wakes up with tears streaming down his face. He wipes away the tears, sighs deeply, and chides himself for his failure. Sui Tian Shu, sitting beside him, speaks up, "You're awake then?" Struggling to sit up, Tin Van holds his chest in sorrow and says to Sui Tian Shu, "Brother Sui, I couldn't keep up, I'm sorry." He then adds, "But you, Brother Sui, you must have endured till the end, right?" Sui Tian Shu awkwardly replies, Yes, that's right." Hearing this, Tin Van becomes a bit disheartened and says, "It's a pity, but next time, I must endure till the end." Sitting despondently in a corner, Tin Van listens as Sui Tian Shu looks over, Thinking this naive boy pretends to understand nothing, yet his mind harbors deeper schemes, clearly aiming to contest the position of disciple with me. An idea then sparks in Sui Tianshu's mind. Perhaps he should eliminate Tin Van, but killing him now would surely raise Tiu Thin's suspicions. What to do? A sly smile crosses his face as he conceives a plan. He then steps out of the dorm room, cheerfully telling Tin Van to rest well while he goes to prepare some food, to which Tin Van gratefully responds, "Thank you, brother Sui." Once outside, Sui Tianshu snorts coldly. As he paced the dormitory hallway, plotting his next move, Sui Tianshu thought to himself that all he needed was for the kid to pass out, ensuring he couldn't participate in tomorrow's contest. The disciple of the Celestial Master should only be Sui Tianshu, he mused with a self-satisfied smile. Scene shifts to the secret chambers of Qingyun Gate. Tiu Thin was deep in meditation, and even the little dog on his head was diligently cultivating, a far cry from its usual lazy demeanor. Tiu Thin circulated his internal energy, pondering that to break through the third layer of the ancient body refining technique, he needed an immense amount of energy, and his body's resilience was now sufficient. Next steps involved harnessing the essence of all heavenly treasures to elevate his cultivation level. Both he and the dog spread their arms wide to absorb the surrounding energies, a true case of like master, like pet. At the same time, Duong Tu Liang wept as he watched the precious gems long hidden being depleted by Tiu Thin, lamenting, "All the treasures of Qingyun Gate, saved for hundreds of years, are now gone." After absorbing all the treasures, Tiu Thin continued his cultivation, while the little dog sprawled out to sleep. In the inner sanctum, Tiu Thin also focused on his internal energy. He closed his eyes to better feel the power and energy flow through him. Suddenly, Tiu Thin's eyes snapped open, his whole being illuminated. Concluding his meditation, Tiu Thin sighed in frustration, "Qingyun Gate is truly poor. These few items barely advanced my cultivation. The breakthrough is still far away." Duong Tu Liang would be sad to hear this. To him, it was a small gain, but for Duong Tu Liang, it was a treasure trove. With a sigh, Tiu Thin leaned back, lost in thought, realizing he needed to venture out for a raid soon. He then loudly called for Duong Tu Liang. Quick as the wind, Duong Tu Liang rushed in, eager and bright-eyed, asking, "Senior, what do you command?" Only then did Duong Tu Liang notice that the treasures he had stored for so long were all used up in one go. Shocked, he exclaimed, "Oh no, senior, everything is gone." Unperturbed, Tiu Thin casually remarked, "You're also quite poor. These few heavenly and earthly treasures are not enough for me. Send out the order. We need to scour for more treasures I can use." Duong Tu Liang obediently replied, "Understood." Suddenly, Duong Tu Liang shared a crucial piece of information that might help Tiu Thin. "By the way, senior, there has always been a legend in Tianyuan City that might be useful to you." Hearing this, Tiu Thin was taken aback and exclaimed in surprise. Duong Tu Liang continued, "My master once told me that in the northern mountains, there seems to be a vast mine of thunder essence. This mine is very well hidden, and it seems guarded by numerous mystical creatures. However, because the power within the thunder essence is so fierce, half of the martial artists can't absorb it, so it's largely ignored." Hearing this, Tiu Thin immediately ordered Duong Tu Liang, "Go and investigate thoroughly. If it really is thunder essence, then it's not a bad find at all." Duong Tu Liang promptly agreed and left to prepare. Tiu Thin then pondered for a moment before looking up at Xiao Hei on his head, who also glanced down at him, ready for the next adventure. Immediately afterward, then Loi Tiu took out 2 gemstones, one azure and one green. Seeing his master pull out 2 brightly shining gemstones right before his eyes, the little black creature joyfully chirped several times. At this moment, then Loi Tiu placed the little black creature down near the 2 gemstones and told it to quickly take them and go cultivate. "A weak person won't benefit at all from them," he said. Feeling belittled by his master like that, the little black creature growled in response. After that, then Loi Tiu stood up and instructed the little black creature, "All right, I'm going out for a bit now." The little black creature, uninterested at this point, was fully absorbed in the 2 gemstones and began to assimilate them. The scene then shifts to the dormitory of the Tan Van Mon disciples. Then Loi Tiu goes out for a walk and then stops. This place seems to be where the new disciples are staying. He decided to check it out. Then Loi Tiu stands in the middle of the dormitory courtyard with his hands clasped behind his back. Seeing this, the new disciples are extremely surprised. One of them exclaims, "That's then Loi to you, brother. He's one of our core disciples and already a mighty sage." Hearing the new disciples discuss him, then Loi Tiu is very surprised and turns around with a gasp. Then he approaches a female disciple and gently asks, "Where are little sister Thien Tu So and Li Tin Van?" Seeing the handsome man before her, the female disciple's cheeks flushed, and she brightly responded, "They are in the third room ahead." Then Loi Tiu nodded and then turned to walk away. The female disciple behind him, utterly enamored, exclaimed joyfully, "He talked to me. He talked to me." Following the female disciple's directions, then Loi Tiu walked towards the third room ahead. Then, he gently pushed open the door of the room. Upon then Loi Tiu's appearance inside their dorm room, both Li Tin Van and Thien Tu So were incredibly surprised, a big question mark popping up in their heads. Immediately after, Thien Tu So quickly asked, "Are you then Loi Tiu, brother?" Then Loi Tiu, with a sunny smile, replied, "I've come to visit you all." Hearing this, Thien Tu So immediately pulled up a chair and cheerfully told then Loi Tiu, "Please, sit down first." Li Tin Van was still in shock, sitting still on the bed. Then Loi Tiu quickly took a seat, crossed his legs, and intertwined his hands, looking seriously at them as he asked, "How do you two feel about Tan Van Mon?" Li Tin Van stammered his reply, not getting a chance to say more before Thien Tu So, with an excited look and sparkling eyes, clenched his fists with determination and said, "Being at Tan Van Mon is something I've aspired to since I was young. I am extremely honored to be here." "Brother, you are an idol in my heart," Thien Tu So continued, his expression and gaze becoming even more resolute. Li Tin Van, more reserved than Thien Tu So, also agreed with him, simply saying, "I feel the same way." Then Loi Tiu glanced at the two of them and then thought deeply, wondering if Thien Tu So was crafty or unscrupulous in his pursuit of happiness. Then Loi Tiu crossed his arms over his chest and seriously told them, "In the future, you can always come to me for anything, but remember this. As a strong person, you must never betray your brothers." Upon hearing this from then Loi Tiu, Thien Tu So felt a bit uneasy, a cold sweat breaking out. Li Tin Van quickly replied, "Yes, I will heed the teachings," while Thien Tu So also agreed, but he hesitated a bit. Thien Tu So uncomfortably pondered the meaning behind his words. Then Loi Tiu placed 2 golden pills on the table, causing Thien Tu So and Li Tin Van to glance at them in surprise. Then Loi Tiu instructed them, "Consider these a greeting gift from your senior brother. 1 pill will enhance your cultivation, and the other is highly poisonous. Decide among yourselves," then Loi Tiu said before turning and walking away, leaving them deep in thought. Both of them stared at the 2 golden pills on the table, neither speaking to the other, surely calculating in their hearts. Then Loi Tiu left, thinking this was the final chance he was giving Thien Tu So. At that moment, Thien Tu So remained silent for a very long time. The next day at the Tan Van Mon school, all the new disciples of Tan Van Mon had arrived early and were neatly lined up, as then Loi Tiu's voice announced that today's test was very simple. A free-for-all battle until the last person standing. He would be the ultimate victor. Then Loi Tiu announced the details of the test. Li Tin Van glanced at Thien Tu So and quietly agreed with a nod. The new disciples of Tan Van Mon all listened intently, with no one voicing any complaints. Immediately after, then Loi Tiu loudly declared, "Begin." The disciples began to throw themselves into the melee, punching, kicking, and elbowing each other. The brawl appeared to be extremely fierce. From a higher vantage point, Don Tu Luong and then Loi Tiu observed the chaos. At that moment, Don Tu Luong noticed a difference when Thien Tu So joined the fray, commenting to then Loi Tiu, "Among these disciples, Thien Tu So is usually outstanding, but in this type of combat, his excellence is not evident. I see many disciples forming groups of 5 to 6. If it were just Thien Tu So alone, he would stand out," he added. Then, Don Tu Luong shifted his gaze to Li Tin Van, who was struggling to block an attack from another disciple. "But having Li Tin Van with him is like a drag," he continued. Don Tu Luong understood then Loi Tiu's implication, glanced over and asked, "Could it be that your intention is?" Then Loi Tiu smiled and replied, "Exactly." Meanwhile, the little black creature on then Loi Tiu's head was sprawling out asleep, seemingly enjoying the privileges of its position. After then Loi Tiu confirmed, Don Tu Luong turned to praise Senior Sao Min. Then Loi Tiu casually watched forward, and the little black creature on his head had now woken up, giving Don Tu Luong a sideways glance for flattering its master. The new disciples noticed that only Thien Tu So and Li Tinban were together. One of them spoke up, noting, "They are just two people." At that moment, Thien Tu So and Li Tinban were back to back, facing a circle of other disciples surrounding them. Thien Tu So frowned and clenched his teeth, a sweat droplet forming as he thought, "It's annoying that I had to deal with this crowd, especially with him as a hindrance." Just as he finished his thought, a disciple lunged at Thien Tu So, who used his elbow to forcefully shove the attacker away, who then landed a painful blow to his cheek and fell. While Thien Tu So was busy handling that attacker, another disciple aimed at Li Tinban, delivering a punch that caught him off guard. He cried out in pain, spitting out a bit of blood from his mouth. Li Tinban was knocked down, sprawled on the ground, but his eyes were resolute as he looked at Thien Tu So and loudly said, "Brother Thien So, we are brothers." Seeing this, Thien Tu So secretly smiled slyly to himself. However, a sudden thought flashed through his mind, causing him to sweat nervously. Immediately, Thien Tu So turned around, jumping towards Li Tinban and shouting, "How could I possibly abandon you?" As Thien Tu So threw his fist forward, he thought of Master Chu Thien Tun, reminding himself, "I was almost trapped. Master Chu Thien Tun must be watching. If I abandon my companion, how can I become his disciple? Using such tactics in front of Master is foolish, indeed." Suddenly, Thien Tu So stood right in front of the disciple who had just knocked down Li Tinban, surprising the attacker who exclaimed, "This guy is quick." Thien Tu So clenched his teeth and swung his fist, shouting, "Take this." Immediately, the attacker received a full punch from Thien Tu So, sending him staggering back with blood spurting from his mouth as he yelled out in pain. Another assailant seized the opportunity to sneak attack Thien Tu So from behind. But Thien Tu So was not one to be easily messed with. Instantly realizing the threat, he turned around and grunted. Right after that, the disciple attempting a sneak attack on Thien Tu So was knocked down by a swift kick, his body arching backward as blood spurted from his mouth. After defeating the group of new disciples from Tanban Mon, Thien Tu So sat down next to Li Tinban and asked, "Are you alright?" Li Tinban firmly replied, "I can still hold on." At that moment, a group of 5 new disciples from Tanban Mon boldly stood before them and said, "Thien Tu So, if it were just you, even the 5 of us together would not be your match." But with Li Tinban added, "Let's see how you fight us now." They spoke with disdain. Hearing this, Thien Tu So turned to Li Tinban and said, "Stay sharp, it's just 5 of them." Li Tinban's eyes were also filled with determination as he responded, "Understood." Immediately afterward, the 5 of them charged towards Thien Tu So and Li Tinban. Thien Tu So and Li Tinban quickly countered the attacks of these 5. One of them targeted Li Tinban, who smiled cunningly, while the rest focused on Thien Tu So. As expected, due to his weaker physique, Li Tinban was knocked back by a kick, while Thien Tu So maintained the upper hand. Seeing Li Tinban staggering, one of the 5 saw an opportunity to sneak attack him. But to everyone's surprise, just as the attacker charged at him, Li Tinban managed to grab the attacker's hair, causing him to yell out in pain, "Ow! Ow! Ow! It hurts!" As Li Tinban was sprawling on the ground, he also managed to pull the attacker down with him. Li Tinban tightly grabbed the sneak attacker's neck and loudly called out to Thien Tu So. The attacker, struggling to breathe, sweated profusely and shouted, "Let me go." Seeing this, Thien Tu So flashed a confident smile, seeing it as a good opportunity. The remaining 4, angered, one of them clenched his teeth and said, "Annoying. The 3 of you handle Thien Tu So, the kid is mine." The other 3 grunted in agreement. After successfully defeating the sneak attacker, Li Tinban, filled with resolve, got up and spoke to Thien Tu So to come and help. Immediately, Li Tinban and the new disciple clashed. Li Tinban shouted, "Come on." Expecting a tense showdown, it was surprising when Li Tinban suddenly dove and grabbed the attacker's legs, astonishing him as he exclaimed, "Oh no." Right then, Li Tinban called out, "Brother So, strike now." So Thien Tu quickly moved forward and delivered a knee strike, causing the attacker to groan in pain. Swiftly, So Thien Tu and Li Tinban took down 2 more opponents, and now they faced a 2-on-3 situation. So Thien Tu coolly stated, "Now it's 2 against 3. Don Tu Luong, observing from a distance, suddenly heard the sound of the jade messenger in his robe, expressing his shock with a gasp. Don Tu Luong picked up the jade messenger to read the news, then happily informed Then Loi Tiu, "Senior, good news." Upon hearing this, Then Loi Tiu turned with a gasp. Don Tu Luong continued, "My disciple has located the Thunder Essence Mine," to which then Loi Tiu, with his arms crossed, asked again, "Really?" Don Tu Luong seriously replied, "It must be true. According to the disciple, it's in a mountain range 300 miles from the city, rich in thunder elements and inhabited by numerous thunder wolves." Upon hearing the good news, then Loi Tiu said to Don Tu Luong, "Good news indeed. I will set out tonight." Don Tu Luong quickly responded, "Senior, do you need me to accompany you?" Meanwhile, the new disciples of Tan Ban Mon were still brawling below, now down to a 2-on-2 fight. From above, then Loi Tiu, arms still crossed, coldly told Don Tu Luong, "No need, your cultivation is too weak. The urgent task now is to focus on winning the cultivation battle." This remark struck Don Tu Luong like a dagger to the heart. Then Loi Tiu then looked down and thought, "It seems it's down to just the two of you now." Below, So Thien Tu was still maintaining the upper hand. He delivered a kick straight to the face of a new disciple, causing his cheek to swell and making him lose his balance. With a fighting spirit as strong as ever, Li Tin Van also used a kick to take down the remaining opponent. After all the new disciples of Tan Van Mon were lying on the ground, Li Tin Van said to So Thien Tu, "Brother So, we've won." So Thien Tu happily responded, "Yes, we've won. We've really won." His eyes twinkling with joy, Li Tin Van seemed contemplative. Then Li Tin Van looked up towards then Loi Tiu and Don Tu Luong standing above, a cold sweat forming as he pondered for a moment. Suddenly, he raised his arm and loudly declared, "I renounce my rights." Hearing this, So Thien Tu was extremely surprised and glanced over. Then, he sat down on the ground with a satisfied smile, finally enjoying the victory. Meanwhile, in a mountain range 300 miles from the city, indeed, the area was rich in thunder elements and gemstones emitting powerful energy. Beyond the gemstones and thunder elements, the mountain was also home to thunder wolves, robust creatures with glowing red eyes and sharp teeth, seemingly the guardians of this place. A shoulder-length haired man approached the site, noticing another who had perished there, and remarked, "Wow." Seeing the abundant thunder crystals, he exclaimed in amazement, "Such powerful thunder mineral veins. I must quickly inform the clan leader." At that moment, then Loi Tiu smiled and announced to the disciples below, "This is a gravity barrier. All of you must endure a pressure 20 times your normal weight. The test starts now." At the Tan Van Mon school, the sun was already high in the sky. After the selection process was down to the last two on the field, Li Tin Van suddenly volunteered to forfeit, wanting to concede the victory to So Thien Tu. So Thien Tu, looking at Li Tin Van, was secretly pleased. This lad voluntarily forfeiting is timely, that's the perfect outcome. Otherwise we would have had to contend with each other. However, Chu Thien Tun did not agree with this, stating that forfeiting was not allowed. Li Tin Van, So Thien Tu, both of you must determine a winner, or else you will both lose your qualifications. Upon hearing Chu Thien Tun's directive, So Thien Tu was bewildered, his face covered in sweat, now devoid of any strength, while that youngster still seemed vibrant and lively. Although Li Tin Van seemed reluctant, unlike So Thien Tu, he did not appear tired. However, Chu Thien Tun, the lucid spirit, was not one for many words. He simply raised his hand to signal and said, "Both of you, continue." So Thien Thu's face showed signs of bruising, he gritted his teeth in frustration. "If that's how it is, then don't blame me," he thought, and then immediately took a strength-enhancing pill that then Loi Tiu had given them the previous day when they met. After taking the pill, So Thien Tu tensed up powerfully, his eyes glowing brightly, radiating a blinding golden energy. He yelled out, "Tin Van, I'm sorry." Immediately, So Thien Tu delivered a powerful palm strike to the center of Li Tin Van's chest, sending him flying backward. Li Tin Van was unable to dodge in time and suffered a painful blow. The forceful strike from So Thien Tu caused Li Tin Van to cough up blood. He clutched his chest in pain, his legs trembling, barely able to stand. Tin Van staggered back a few steps, blood dripping from his mouth onto the ground. Seeing Tin Van wounded like this, So Thien Tu gripped his fist, assured of his victory. He raised his hand to signal to Chu Thien Tun and Don Tu Luong, who were standing at the top of the hall, shouting, "I have won." Li Tin Van is no longer able to fight. Then Loi Tiu and Chu Thien Tun, with their hands clasped behind their backs, still did not acknowledge his victory. "No, that youngster is still alive." Don Tu Luong was confused and perturbed by Chu Thien Tun's decision. So Thien Tu was stunned. "What, my victory is still not recognized by Chu Thien Tun?" Then Loi Tiu and Chu Thien Tun firmly stated, to become my disciple, you must kill him first. Li Tinvan was anxious. What is this about? Don Tu Luong was also very surprised. He stood by but felt ineffective and awkwardly tried to intervene, stuttering, "Senior, senior." The disciples who had just competed were scattered across the field, some still conscious and now panicking. One said, "I'm glad I was knocked out earlier," while another, sweating profusely, commented, "Why so brutal?" A disciple of Chu Thien Tun must be decisive and ruthless. If you don't even have this much skill, how can you be my disciple? Tiu then stated coldly. So Thien Tu fell silent, caught in a very difficult situation. Then, So Thien Tu turned back to Tin Van and said his final words, "Tin Van, don't blame me, I'm sorry." With that, he gathered his glowing golden energy in his hand, preparing to strike Li Tin Van. Despite the blood still flowing from his mouth, Tin Van appeared very calm and said, "Brother So, you don't need to strike. I am weaker than you. I can end it myself, and I will not let your hands be stained with fresh blood." Tin Van always thought of So Thien Tu, ready to sacrifice his life to yield victory to him. Without further ado, Tin Van struck his own head to commit suicide, making it easier for So Thien Tu to pass the disciple selection for Chu Thien Tun. Li Tin Van fell to the ground, leaving So Thien Tu in shock. He's dead, he killed himself, good. Despite the act of his fellow disciple sacrificing himself to hand over the victory, he still felt joy. So Thien Tu, satisfied, knelt before Chu Thien Tun and Don Tu Luong next to the body of Li Tin Van, his face radiant with the joy of securing the position of a true disciple. He loudly declared, "Disciple So Thien Tu, greets the master." Don Tu Luong, witnessing everything unfold before him, was lost in thought, unsure of what to say. Chu Thien Tun and Tiu then unexpectedly praised So Thien Tu, "You did well. I heard Tiu then visited you yesterday." So Thien Tu politely responded, "Yes, master." Chu Thien Tun sternly asked, "Do you remember what Tiu then told you?" So Thien Tu appeared worried, unable to articulate his thoughts, his face clearly showing his unease. Chu Thien Tun continued, repeating the words of Tiu then from the previous day, "You must never betray your brothers at any time. So Thien Tu, you put your own interests first, even at the cost of your brother's life." Upon hearing this, So Thien Tu became extremely worried and quickly tried to explain, "That's not it. You instructed me to do so. My brother is indeed important, but my master is the most important person to me. How could I disobey a direct order from my master?" Don Tu Luong felt that this student was beyond help. Chu Thien Tun and Tiu then pointed at So Thien Tu, "You speak well. If so, then kill yourself. After you die, I will acknowledge you as my true disciple." So Thien Tu became increasingly panicked and placed his hand on his chest, pleading with his master, "No, no, master, you must be joking. Why still ask for suicide?" Tiu then scornfully rebuked him, calling him a wolf-hearted, shameless man. Under the guise of Chu Thien Tun, Tiu then, standing on the high platform with Don Tu Luong, pointed directly at So Thien Tu and scolded, "Li Tin Van saw you as a close brother, and you led him to his death. I gave you a chance to meet Tiu then to awaken your conscience, but it was ineffective, showing your irredeemable nature." So Thien Tu, dripping with sweat, looked dazed as he heard Tiu then's judgment. However, he quickly changed his demeanor, putting on a sly and insincere smile. Unconvinced, So Thien Tu retorted to Tiu then, "I know you underestimate me." He brazenly pointed at Chu Thien Tun and Tiu then's face, "On what basis do you look down on me? I am clearly the best among us all." Tiu then, curtly responded, "I'll count to 3, and you'd better kill yourself," making So Thien Tu extremely fearful, sweating profusely as if he had just taken a bath. Despite his fear, he still tried to shout to regain his composure. Then, he grabbed the head of a disciple lying nearby and said with a reckless attitude, "If I can't live, might as well take a few with me as a cushion," causing the disciple to cry out in pain, "Don't drag me into this." So Thien Tu forced the toxic pill that Tiu then gave them the previous day down the throat of the disciple, making him eat it. He then smiled satisfied, ignoring the disciple who was coughing and trying to vomit out the pill. Tiu then knew of his trickery, however, the supposed poisonous pill he gave him was just a regular candy. So Thien Tu was dumbfounded to realize he had been deceived, while the plump disciple felt lucky to have escaped death. Tiu then and Chu Thien Tun pointed a finger upward, gathering a dazzling blue energy. Their focus was directed towards So Thien Tu. So Thien Tu could only flinch in horror for a moment. As a beam of energy from Chu Thien Tun shot forth, piercing So Thien Thu's forehead and killing him with a single strike. Tiu then and Chu Thien Tun jumped down from the high platform onto the field and addressed all the disciples of Tan Van Mon, emphasizing that the most important thing in Tan Van Mon is righteousness. Anyone who harms a brother for personal gain will be ruthlessly dealt with by me, Tiu then and Chu Thien Tun declared as they walked past the standing corpse of So Thien Tu, who hadn't even had time to close his eyes or mouth. Afterwards, Tiu then carried Li Tin Van on his shoulder and left. Tiu then, with Li Tin Van on his shoulder, soared up to the summit of Tan Mon Palace. Entering the secret chamber of Tan Van. Inside the chamber, Tiu then laid Li Tin Van to rest on a bed. At that moment, Tiu then removed the mask of Chu Thien Tun, looking contemplatively at Li Tin Van and recognizing that although his character was flawless, his natural talent was somewhat lacking. Tiu then used his discerning eyes to peer through Li Tin Van's body. And suddenly he noticed the chaotic and unstable meridians within the body of this young man, and that the origin of the divine stone was also dimly colored. In the center of all the meridians in Li Tin Van's body, a glowing energy mass appeared, and Tiu then wondered what it was. He laughed, seemingly having discovered the origin of this energy. Unexpectedly, it was the Supreme Soul residing within the divine powers of this young man, and it was precisely this that had damaged his meridians. If Tiu then's guess was correct, this entity was waiting for the young man to awaken his divine powers before attempting to seize them completely. On the body of Li Tin Van, who was lying on the bed, a layer of blue energy formed like a mist. Suddenly, this layer of energy formed a vague face, which asked Tiu then, "Who are you exactly, and how can you see the Supreme Being here?" Eventually, the energy coalesced into the soul of an elderly sage with long, silver hair. He emerged from within the body of Li Tin Van. After revealing his true form as a soul, the elder wanted to know Tiu then's identity, but Tiu then replied, "Based on your status, you do not yet deserve to know who I am. Conversely, I am very curious about your identity." The elder's soul appeared amid flickering blue flames, saying, "Even though I am in decline, I am not someone you can threaten. You see through me is impressive, but I can also perceive your cultivation level." The elder seemed to belittle Tiu then, crossing his arms and stating, "Based on you now, how could you possibly withstand me?" Hearing this, Tiu then burst out laughing, "How could I possibly withstand you?" Tiu then stood up and praised the elder, "Well said, well said. Do you know there is a soul-seeking method aimed at the 3 souls and 7 spirits of a person?" The elder seemed a bit worried but still responded, "It's just a soul-seeking method, it won't affect me much." Seeing the elder's confidence, Tiu then felt excited to test his skills against him. This time, the elder began to lose his composure, clenched his fists, and threatened Tiu then, "Young man, don't cause trouble. If you really anger me, even if I have to sacrifice my old body, I will kill you, despite being just a soul." Tiu then calmly replied, "I've been waiting for you to say that. Go ahead," further astonishing the elder with his audacious demeanor. As Tiu then continued to press the elder without any action from him, he challenged, "What's the matter? Weren't you ready to risk everything to kill me? Here's your chance, come and try." The elder seemed to bluff Tiu then but couldn't act, appearing weak and dejected. "HMPH, if I really had the strength, I wouldn't have wasted so much time talking to you." The elder set up his own array in the room, disheartenedly stating, "I spent effort preparing an escape technique only to have you discover it." Tiu then stood firm on the floor, laughing heartily. He cheerfully said, "Now that I've seen through your scheme, answer my questions. If you lie even slightly, I will not show mercy." The elder, wide-eyed in surprise, asked, "What do you want to know?" Tiu then, with an air of superiority, interrogated the elder, "What is your level of cultivation, when did you start practicing, and why are you residing in this young man's body?" The elder explained that in his previous life his cultivation reached the level of a great emperor, just shy of becoming a supreme being. Unfortunately, his ultimate ascension was thwarted. "I don't remember exactly when, but I awoke next to this young man and have been residing in him since," he mused. As the elder recounted his story, he reminisced about his younger days in a past life as a young man with pale blonde hair. Tiu then continued, addressing the elder, "Great emperor or whatever, that's all well and good, but since you are now in this young man's body, you might as well protect him honestly." With Li Tin Van still unconscious, Tiu then noted, "After all, he is also my disciple." Then, Tiu then pointed 2 fingers, channeling a burst of red energy towards the elder's soul. A red beam of energy shot out from Tiu then's fingertips, striking the elder's forehead, startling and scaring him. After the energy beam hit the elder's forehead, it formed a restraining layer around him. The elder helplessly asked Tiu then, "Have you placed a bloodline curse on me?" "Yes," Tiu then confirmed, having placed a master-servant pact on the elder. "Your master is now Li Tin Van. If you dare do anything harmful to Tin Van, your soul will instantly burn to ash." The master-servant pact is a deeply humiliating bond. Even if it's a pact of soul preservation, I wouldn't be angry, but did you intend to humiliate me? The elder shouted angrily at Tiu Then. Tiu then maintained his usual calm demeanor. "I don't need to explain to you. I intended to cleanse the impurities in his meridians, but now that you're here, I don't need to intervene personally for such a minor matter." Then, Tiu then turned to leave, waving his hand at the elder's soul, not forgetting to instruct, "This child is now your responsibility. I expect to see him transformed in 3 months." The elder was trapped in a difficult situation and could only sigh in despair. At the rear of the Tan Van Mon mountain, Tiu then was on his way to the Thunder Crystal Mountains to investigate the results. He opened the door to the room to find his dog, who had accompanied him. As Tiu then cracked open the door, a surge of energy inside surprised him, leaving him puzzled about what had happened. The dog had transformed into a large and fierce beast, and Tiu then was equally surprised by its current appearance. Although it had become a large, fierce creature, it still behaved submissively before Tiu Then. On the floor were pieces of thunder crystal. Tiu then patted the dog's head. "I can't believe just 2 thunder crystals could cause such a drastic transformation in you. I'm becoming more curious about your bloodline," to which the dog happily wagged its tail. Tiu then told it that he would take it to a better place, and the two, man and beast, leaned on each other happily. But the current appearance of the dog was indeed very conspicuous. Hearing this, the dog chuckled, hee hee, understanding its master's intention, showing how truly intelligent the creature was. The dog immediately transformed back into its smaller form. Tiu then praised it for being clever. The puppy then hopped onto Tiu Then's head. Tiu then placed it on his head joyfully. Moving to Don Tu Luong's room, he asked Tiu Then, "Senior, do you really not need me to come along?" Tiu then responded, "What use would there be in you coming along? Honestly, you staying put and maintaining Tan Van Mon well is the urgent task." After speaking, Tiu then bid farewell and departed. Don Tu Luong waved saying, "Senior, go at your ease." Thunder and powerful lightning bolts appeared in the sky. Tiu then exclaimed joyfully, "It has finally arrived." The elements of thunder and lightning were intense. If all of the thunder crystal mineral veins can absorb the cultivation techniques of the ancient era, even if I cannot break through to the 3rd gravity level, it will definitely be a new level. Tiu then looked up high. He muttered, "It looks like this is the place." Suddenly, Tiu then noticed something. "What's that? A lot of people are coming." He immediately hid to one side. He thought to himself, could the information about the mineral vein be wrong? Many people appeared, laughing loudly, "Ha ha ha." The young lord, Vong Din, joyfully said, "Indeed, the thunder element here is very strong. It seems our Vong family has truly found a treasure." His subordinate chimed in, "Master, if we monopolize this mineral vein, our family's strength will surely reach a new peak." Vong Din replied, "Not bad, with so much thunder crystal, it's enough for our family to cultivate for years. By then, my cultivation will surely reach a new pinnacle, breaking through to the ultimate Dao fusion." He seemed very excited. The subordinate flattered, exactly. With the young master's talents, not to mention Dao fusion, even reaching a new higher level will be as easy as flipping a hand." Tiu then observed them, thinking to himself, "This guy is aiming for Dao fusion, and the people around him are all experts of at least the 1st level of Dao fusion. It looks like getting these thunder crystals will not be easy." Vong Din ordered his men to quickly survey the area and then inform the family elders to send more people to mine the mineral vein. Seeing this, Tiu then thought to himself that the situation was becoming complicated. Relying solely on his own strength, there was no way to contend against this group. Suddenly, a notification pinged. Tiu then checked it to find a message from Tiu Tu Fong, a fellow Taoist. The message informed him that recruitment of soldiers was complete. 5 Taoist cultivators of the 5th level, 3 of the 6th level, and 1 of the 7th level. Tiu then was pleased, thinking the timing was perfect. He then ordered them to immediately come to the Loi Van mountain range, and they confirmed they understood. He thought it best to just bide his time for now, but wondered who this Vong Din was, doubting he was a top cultivator from his own Thien Nguyen region. A subordinate reported to Vong Din that the news of the thunder crystal vein might not be exclusive to their family. "It's rather arrogant to just wait here. The subordinate cautioned Vong Din, who replied dismissively, arrogant. I've been this big and still don't know what arrogance is. Don't say that this small natural area is anything special. Even if it were the martial world, few would dare not give face to our Vong family. No one else could possibly know this information. All those who knew have been eradicated by my guards. The sycophantic subordinate agreed. No wonder he's the young master. However, internally he thought the young master's arrogance could potentially be problematic. From a distance, Tiu then watched and considered how openly arrogant these people were, indicating Vong Din was likely another pompous noble's son. It was not the right time for him to reveal himself. In the forest, a cry went up, "Aiui!" A wild bear was facing off against a three-eyed maned wolf. The bear was quickly subdued. Tiu then, observing the scene, thought, not bad, not bad. The fighting prowess of the three-eyed maned wolf is strong. This ancient wild-maned bear, at least a divine peak in cultivation, was taken down with a single bite by this fellow. Tiu then patted it on the head and said, "It seems you still don't have a name. Let's call you Second Dog then." It turned away, clearly unimpressed. Tiu then noticed and asked, "What's wrong? Don't you like it?" He sighed and said, "Really hard to please. If you don't like that, how about we call you Tiu Hack instead?" It barked 3 times, hoo hoo hoo, with a sly expression on its face. Tiu then, pretending to be angry, scared it into making a meow meow meow, whimpering sound. Finally, it submitted and behaved like a good puppy, although it was originally a dog anyway. Tiu then looked towards the Loi Van mountain range. The Vong family's workers were indeed quick to arrive. Watching the newly arrived workers, Vong Din praised them, "Not bad, not bad." Vong Din commanded, "Start mining the vein immediately," and they promptly obeyed. The workers mined energetically, their hammering noises loud and clear, ding ding dong dong. Soon, they had extracted a substantial amount of the mineral vein. Tiu then thought, this Fong Vo Dao will take 3 days to arrive? Oh well. Regrettably, I've never worked in mineral extraction in my previous life. Now I can only wait for reinforcements. He stood watching the workers helplessly and sighed. Suddenly, Tiu Hack barked excitedly, hoo hoo. It ran around in circles continuously. Tiu then asked, "Tiu Hack, what are you doing?" Hearing Tiu then's question, it stopped and barked, "Gao gao gao." Then it began to draw. Tiu then was puzzled and asked again, "What the devil are you drawing?" Tiu Hack drew a large circle surrounded by smaller circles. Tiu then looked at the drawing and exclaimed. He put his hand on his chin, pondering, "Chrysanthemums, sunflowers. I don't understand." The wolf howled helplessly. It cried out in frustration and barked again, "Ang ang ang gao gao gao," thinking, "My master is so dumb, doesn't he realize I can't speak human?" Then Tiu then said, "I get it now. You're saying that in these mountains there are minerals of high purity." It jumped up happily barking, "Gao gao gao," because Tiu then had finally understood. "So that's it. This trick of yours turns out to be quite useful." The wolf looked pleased with itself. Tiu then petted its head and said, "Let's just lay low and let them do the hard work. When the time comes, we'll act." 2 days later, one of Vong Din's subordinates reported, "Young master, the passage is clear. We can go down now." Tham added, "And I can sense something below. It seems there's an exceptional mineral vein down there. Vong Din has given us the green light to go down." Then Vong Din led the way down the passage with his men following. Tiu then also sneaked along behind. Vong Din observed for a moment. Then he exclaimed, "I didn't expect there to be so much mineral here." His subordinate replied, "Indeed. It seems to exceed our expectations by multiples. This time, our young master is truly fortunate." Vong Din immediately ordered, "All right, everyone, start mining right away. Within a month, I want this place thoroughly exploited." The workers sighed. "Within a month? That's going to be a risky endeavor," one said. The overseer nodded in agreement. He then whipped a worker with his cane and shouted, "Get to work. No more idle talk. You, there, you're fired." One of Vong Din's subordinates said, "Young master, I can sense the location of this exceptional mineral vein, about 3 meters from where we are. Let's go and have a look." He replied, "Lead the way." Tiu then, standing aside, thought, "This old guy can clearly sense the position of the exceptional mineral vein. It seems he has some special skills. Not bad for someone working for me." As Vong Din approached the location of the exceptional mineral vein, he exclaimed in surprise. He immediately applauded, "Well done, well done. In just 2 short days, you've managed to dig all the way here. These workers deserve praise." His subordinate quickly replied, "It's all thanks to the way you teach us, young master." Vong Din said, this exceptional mineral vein is right here? His subordinate replied, yes, young master, look ahead. They walked to a tall rock column. His subordinate said, young master, inside this rock column is the exceptional mineral vein. Vong Din was surprised. Interesting. This rock column looks smooth. You can't even tell it's there by natural means. It's truly exquisite craftsmanship, he remarked. Tiu then, standing in a dark corner, looked at the rock column and silently thought, this column is so smooth. Moreover, it's completely black, with a faint shimmer on top. How can such powerful thunder mineral veins be inside? He wondered. Could this be a war weapon? He speculated. It seems this mineral vein is definitely not a product of nature, but if it's really a war weapon, relying solely on my perception, I certainly can't detect even a hint of its presence, he pondered. As he was thinking, the little black wolf on his head spoke up. It jumped down to the ground. Tiu then was surprised and wondered what it was doodling now. The little black wolf doodled on the ground for a while, and after some time, it formed the image of a monkey carrying a stick on its shoulder. Could it be trying to depict Sun Wukong with his staff? Tiu then looked at the doodle and guessed that it was indeed a war weapon. But you, little one, you're quite interesting. How do you know this? He asked. Upon hearing this question, the little black wolf jumped up to express itself. Tiu then observed the little black wolf and pondered. You're saying these things are in your memory? The little black wolf nodded in agreement. He thought to himself, to carry memories like that, even for a spirit beast, is impossible. What are you really? The little black wolf immediately scratched the ground to draw. First, it depicted the hunting of the phoenix. Tiu then thought, so, it's besieging and attacking divine phoenixes. Next, the little black wolf drew an assault on a dragon. Tiu then's eyes widened in amazement. Finally, the turtle. Tiu then thought, hunting down all 4 divine beasts for food. I've been a god for so many years, and I've never heard of any creature capable of such terror. This is truly a martial scene. What secrets lie hidden within? Vong Din looked at the rock column in front of him and then punched it. The column didn't budge. Even with my strength, this punch of mine doesn't even make the column tremble a bit, he marveled. His subordinate spoke up, actually, there are some martial arts involved. If this column doesn't resemble a normal mineral vein, the thunder mineral vein inside must be even more exceptional. Congratulations, young master, on this find. Upon hearing this, he burst into laughter, ha ha ha. Let's move forward. There's nothing to do here. We'll wait for the elders to arrive and study it together. Tiu then stepped forward and stood looking at the rock column. This column is truly intriguing, he remarked. The little black wolf on his head also let out a howl. He clenched his fist, concentrating his power. He, too, delivered a powerful punch to the rock column. Not only did it withstand the blow, but it also seemed to absorb the strength.